Most people will never know what they're truly capable of because they've never pushed themselves far enough to find out. They live in comfort, in routine, doing just enough to get by, staying just safe enough to avoid pain. But there is another level, a place only the obsessed reach, a level reserved not for the talented, but for the relentless, for the ones who wake up with one mission burned into their mind: outwork everyone else. This world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards action. It rewards the one who stays late, who rises early, who never makes excuses and refuses to stop when things get hard. Because they will get hard. That's not a threat, that's a guarantee. Life will throw pain at you. It will test your will, your discipline, your desire. And in that moment, when others begin to fold, you have to decide who you are. You can be like most, soft, quick to quit, constantly chasing comfort, or you can be the one who grinds when it's raining, when it's freezing, when it's lonely, when it hurts, the one who shows up no matter what. There is no shortcut, there is no easy way, there's just the work. And while others are looking for hacks and secrets, you're doing what they won't. You're building calluses on your mind through repetition. You're pushing through the boredom, the fatigue, the fear. You're not asking for support, not begging for motivation, because you don't need it. You've decided to carry this on your own back, and nothing anyone says or doesn't say will stop you. That's the difference between you and everyone else. You're not waiting to feel ready. You're not hoping for a perfect moment. You're working. Every second, every breath, every beat of your heart is pushing you closer to that version of yourself they said you could never be. Let them sleep, let them party, let them take shortcuts, let them stay soft. You're on a different mission. You don't fear pain. You hunt it. You don't fear failure. You learn from it. You don't care how long it takes because you're not in it for quick rewards. You're building something that lasts, something forged in suffering, in silence, in sweat. While they talk, you move. While they stop, you keep going. While they dream, you outwork every single one of them. Most people go through life avoiding discomfort at all costs. They seek warmth, ease, and convenience, but nothing great ever comes from comfort. Growth demands pain. Progress demands struggle. When you hear "embrace the suck," it means run toward the suffering, not away from it. Because that suffering is the gateway to strength. When you're freezing, soaked in sweat, gasping for air, when your legs are shaking, and your mind screams to stop, that's the suck. And in that exact moment, you are being given a choice, to quit like everyone else or to lean in and keep moving forward. Most people turn back. They retreat to safety. They let the discomfort dictate their actions. But the rare few, the ones who learn to embrace the suck, they find something different. They find another gear. They discover a version of themselves they never knew existed. Pain reveals truth. When you strip away comfort, you find your real character. It's easy to act tough when life is easy, but when it gets hard, when your back is against the wall and no one is coming to save you, that's when you find out who you are. If you've trained yourself to seek comfort, you'll fold. But if you've trained yourself to find purpose in pain, to look at adversity like a workout for the soul, you'll rise. Every time you put yourself in a hard situation and refuse to quit, you're building calluses on your mind. You're toughening your mental armor. It doesn't happen once. It happens through repetition, day after day of doing things that suck, waking up early, running when you're tired, studying when you're drained, practicing when no one's watching, choosing the hard road every time, not because you enjoy it, but because you know that's where your edge lies. The suck will always be there. The weather will be bad. Your body will hurt. Your mind will want to stop, but none of that matters. What matters is that you don't flinch, you don't run, you show up, no matter how brutal it gets, because every second you spend in the suck is a second you spend getting sharper, stronger, harder to kill. You don't get tougher by avoiding pain. You get tougher by standing inside of it until you're immune to it. The mind is like skin, soft until it's put through enough friction to grow tougher. When you work with your hands for long enough, you build calluses. Blisters turn into hardened armor. The same principle applies to your thoughts, your discipline, your ability to suffer without breaking. Callousing the mind means deliberately putting yourself through mental adversity until your reaction to pain, fear, failure, and chaos is no longer panic, but control. You train it by facing hard things again and again until they stop controlling you. The average person avoids difficulty because it makes them uncomfortable. But when you run from pain, you also run from progress. People want mental toughness, but they don't want to earn it. They want resilience, but they're not willing to suffer for it. Callousing the mind isn't something you're born with, it's built through action. You become mentally tough by doing the things that most people refuse to do. You wake up before dawn. You push yourself past exhaustion. You keep going when the work is thankless, when no one notices, and when no one cares. That's how the callus forms. Every time you push through something difficult and survive it, you're teaching your mind that discomfort won't kill you. That failure won't destroy you. That fear is just another emotion you can ignore. You're rewiring your internal dialogue, replacing doubt and excuses with discipline and grit. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop listening to that voice that says, "I've done enough." You answer it with, "I'm not done yet." Over time, you stop giving in to weakness because weakness doesn't speak as loud anymore. Callousing the mind isn't glamorous. It's dirty, repetitive, and exhausting. But it's also the only way to become the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure. When life punches you in the face, and it will, you don't run to comfort, you lean into the blow. You don't freeze, you don't complain, you adapt, you fight. You train your mind to stay locked in even when your body wants out. You stop looking for easy paths because you've realized the hard path is the only one worth taking. The pain you choose becomes the strength you carry. The more you suffer with purpose, the thicker your mental armor grows. The more you put yourself in difficult situations, the less anything outside of you can control what's inside of you. Everyone wants to be a winner until it's time to do what winners do. Most people hit a wall and stop. They say it's too hard, too painful, too much. But there are a rare few who decide that stopping is simply not an option. These are the ones who separate themselves, not because they're stronger, faster, or smarter, but because they made the decision to keep going long after everyone else quit. To be the one who never stops is to become a force of nature, unrelenting, unbreakable, unwilling to settle for average. Quitting is easy. It's available at every turn. Life will hand you 1,000 excuses to slow down, to take it easy, to step back. But excuses are lies dressed up as logic. When you decide to be the one who never stops, you make a promise to yourself that you won't take the easy way out, no matter how tempting it gets. You learn to live with discomfort. You learn to welcome boredom. You learn to keep working long after the excitement is gone and all that's left is discipline. Most people operate at a fraction of their capability because they let their feelings dictate their effort. If they're tired, they rest. If they're discouraged, they wait. But when you commit to never stopping, your emotions no longer control your actions. You show up whether you're sore, whether you're sad, whether you feel like it or not. You don't need motivation because you've built a mindset where showing up is just what you do. You grind because it's in your DNA. Momentum builds when you push past your limits and keep moving. Every rep, every hour, every drop of sweat builds a foundation that others can't see. They don't see the late nights, the early mornings, the failures, the pain, but they see the results. They call it talent. They call it luck. What they don't understand is that success is just consistency multiplied over time by someone who refused to stop. You become that person through repetition, through defiance, through choosing effort over excuses every single day. You don't pause when it's hard. You push harder. You don't let fear stall your progress. You step straight into it. You don't count on someone to carry you. You carry yourself through everything. Everyone has weakness. Some people hide it. Some people are broken by it, but a few make a different choice. They turn it into fuel. They take every insult, every shortcoming, every failure, and turn it into a weapon. They don't shrink from their flaws. They study them. They sit with the pain. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what can I build from this? That's the difference between those who stay stuck and those who become unstoppable. Weakness isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of transformation. Most people run from what hurts them. They avoid their insecurities like fire. But pain has information. Your weakness points directly at where you need to grow. It's the mirror that shows you who you really are, not who you pretend to be. When you stop lying to yourself about your limits and start facing them head on, you gain power. Weakness no longer becomes something to be ashamed of. It becomes raw material for strength. Every time someone tells you you're not good enough, every time you fall short, every time life humbles you, it's giving you a new log to throw on the fire. The fire doesn't come from outside. No coach, no parent, no mentor can give it to you. It has to come from the decision to own your pain and use it. That's how obsession is born. That's how you become relentless. Not by pretending to be perfect, but by grinding away your flaws until they turn into armor. If you're slow, you train until you're not. If you're afraid, you walk toward fear until it becomes familiar. If you've been doubted your whole life, you use that doubt like jet fuel. You let it sit inside your chest until the only option is to prove them wrong. Not with words, but with action. Weakness isn't a curse. It's a gift disguised as suffering. It shows you where to work. It gives you a reason to get up early, to stay late, to refuse to settle. People who are handed everything never develop the same edge as those who were told they'd never make it. The ones who started behind learn to fight harder, to dig deeper, to rely on grit instead of privilege. The pain of being underestimated turns into the drive to become undeniable. There will be moments when no one believes in you. No one supports you. No one claps when you win or picks you up when you fall. In those moments, most people crumble because they were relying on external validation to keep going. But those who truly want to become unbreakable learn early that if you want to do something great, you'll probably have to do it alone. You'll have to grind in silence, push through without applause, and keep your fire lit when no one else even sees the spark. Doing it alone doesn't mean you isolate yourself from the world. It means you stop depending on it. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You stop hoping for a shortcut or a cheerleader. You look in the mirror and take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. When you decide to carry the weight by yourself, you become stronger, more focused, and more dangerous. The silence of isolation becomes your training ground. No distractions, no excuses, just you versus the work. There will be days when your body is broken and your mind is screaming for you to quit. You'll question if it's worth it. You'll wonder if anyone even notices. But the ones who stay hard don't need a reason to keep going beyond the commitment they made to themselves. They don't wait to feel motivated. They show up whether they feel like it or not. Being hard is about discipline. It's about showing up when it's cold, when you're tired, when you're defeated. It's about getting back up every single time you fall, with no one watching, no one caring, and no one offering help. People will doubt you. They'll laugh. They'll ignore you. That's good. Let them. Use it. Let the lack of support harden your resolve. Every mile you run alone, every set you grind out with no one in the room, every painful moment where you choose not to quit. That's where the real transformation happens. You're not building a version of yourself that's strong only when conditions are perfect. You're building the kind of mindset that survives anything. And that only happens when you stop waiting to be rescued and choose instead to become your own weapon. There will always be someone stronger, faster, more talented, more connected. You can't control that. But what you can control, what you own completely, is your effort. You may not have the perfect body, the perfect circumstances, or the perfect start, but you can decide to outwork everyone. When others take a break, you keep pushing. When they call it a day, you call it round one. Outworking everyone else isn't a tactic. It's a mindset. It's a way of life that says no one will outlast you because no one is willing to suffer like you. Talent is common. Most people with talent waste it because they rely on it. They coast, they rest, and they assume it will carry them through. But hard work exposes talent when talent refuses to work hard. You don't need to be born with anything special if you're willing to suffer more than the next person. You make yourself dangerous by refusing to settle, refusing to coast, and refusing to let a single day go to waste. There are no days off when you're chasing something greater than comfort. You rise early, stay late, and fill every moment with purpose. Outworking everyone means doing the work no one else wants to do. It means mastering the boring things, attacking the basics, grinding through the reps when motivation is long gone. It's showing up when you're sore, when you're tired, when your mind tells you to skip it just this once. It's not about going fast. It's about not stopping, not slowing down when it gets tough, not dialing back when others would tap out. It's about being consistent, obsessed, and committed beyond what makes sense. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to post about it. You let the results speak for you. Every extra hour, every rep in the dark, every ounce of effort you pour in when no one's looking, it adds up. You become undeniable, not because you were the chosen one, but because you were the one who never let up. When you outwork everyone else, you don't just build a stronger body or sharper skills. You build a mindset that won't crack under pressure, a spirit that can't be broken, and a work ethic that becomes your identity.